Hi, and welcome to Piano Teaching Success Q&A. I'm Gillian Erskine, your host for today's show, as we join piano teachers around the world to be inspired, uplifted, and make our job that little bit easier as we explore our passion for teaching piano. Well, it's been a busy few weeks with the challenge that we've just run, and we've had such fun working with hundreds of piano teachers around the world who rolled up their sleeves and immersed themselves in whole body learning with their students. And we've got some fabulous stories to tell, which we're going to share with you later in the show. Well, this week we opened the studio with our first masterclass. It was such fun sharing some more whole body learning ideas and resources with our lovely members. Well, today's guests are both members actually, and are going to share what they've been doing with whole body learning in their studios. But before we get started, if you're with us live today, we would love to welcome you. So please let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. Well, I'd like to introduce Heather Smith, who is with us today from Utah in the USA, and it's mountain time. I love mountain time, Heather. And you have an interesting way that you came to piano teaching. Can you tell everyone about that?
Yes, I started out as an accountant doing taxes for about 6 years, and I decided that was not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I made a better decision, and I decided to become a piano teacher.
Fantastic. And you now have your own piano pedagogy study group, and you're a US representative for RCM exams, and you teach both online and from your own studio, home studio. And you're currently completing your MBA, if that's not all that enough. That's a lot on your plate. How do you fit it all in?
It is. Interestingly, when I was at the university studying with my teacher, she would always say, Heather, I think that you fill every single second of every single day to avoid practicing. And I think I've just carried on that tradition to this day.
I think I can kind of identify with that. And you've been presenting at the MTNA, which is the Music Teachers National Association Conference, which is held in America. We were going to be there last year, weren't we? But that all went online, and it's been online this year as well. And you've done 4 presentations over 4 days. Can you tell us about that?
Oh yeah, it was a great conference. We had over 100 sessions with presenters throughout the world, and they talked about different topics like health and wellness, artistry, recreational music making. There were concerts and networking. It was jammed packed. It was an amazing concert.
And one of the gifts of COVID is that we can all attend MTNA no matter where we are in the world, because it's online. And you can register now, and the videos are going to be up until the 1st of June, so there's plenty of time to catch up if you've been totally busy. And we're going to put a link to the MTNA website in our show notes for you. Well, I'd like to welcome Leanna Minnick, who's with us from Utah. Hi, Leanna. And Stella, who's with us from Manchester in the UK. Hi, Stella. And also, and it's just lovely to have everybody from all over the world with us. So if you are here, please let us know. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're from, because we'd like to welcome you. Well, I'd like to introduce Sophie Fredericks, who lives in the Hunter Valley region of one of Australia's major wine regions, known for Semillon and Shiraz. So how big is your town, Sophie? I think you live in a little town, don't you?
Yeah, we're about 25,000 people in Singleton. It's quite a transient town. We have military, so people sort of coming for about 2 years at a time before they fly off again, and then a lot of mining families as well. So it's a very transient population.
Okay. And you have also a very interesting story to tell about how you came to teach piano. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so fresh out of school, when I went to university, I did music teaching, but I got about halfway through and was a bit musicked out at the time and transferred across into nursing. So I have been working as a registered nurse, and then a few years into it, I was like, why did I do that? And went back to the music teaching, which is my true love, and that's what I do.
That's fantastic. And you teach both in a local school and in your home studio.
Yes, correct.
And You've got a really interesting story to tell, Sophie, about around the COVID, about a year ago, I guess, and practice buddy and your exam students. At the time, I thought this was really clever of you. Can you take us back to that time and tell us what happened?
With the practice buddy, sure. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so at that time you weren't doing the Q&A program. It was like you were doing a TV show, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, that's right.
Yeah, and you'd introduced practice buddy on the TV show. Anyway, I just thought it was such a great idea, and there was so much uncertainty with COVID and lockdowns, what was going to happen, and I was just like, oh, what can I do to help my students? So I made the decision then and there to purchase Practice Buddy for my exam students. I didn't tell the families that there was any cost involved. I just signed them all up, got it sent straight to the parents' emails, and said to the parents, okay, this is what we're doing.
A leap of faith.
Yes.
And I think also you were in that kind of severe lockdown where you weren't even allowed, at that point, you weren't allowed to see them.
No. And I guess because I was still, still doing casual shifts in nursing. So there was that added risk of my other job.
Yes.
So it was a zero straight cut for me. Yeah. So face to face.
I think you were saying that it was just like, I got all their whole program planned out for the year. At the end of the year, they're going to do an exam, bang, lockdown. You're thinking, uh-oh, that's everything gone up in smoke.
Yes, there was a lot of tears.
So what did you say, how did the parents feel about it?
I think we were all so unsure about everything, but I think one of the good things to come out of COVID is that everyone's really embraced technology and, everything that had to happen. And, the kids are better than we are with the technology, aren't they? They're such early adapters and they just go with it. So I think the kids find it so easy and, second nature, and the parents just go, oh, okay, well, this is working. So
yeah. I think at the time I remember you saying that you said to the parents, they need to be able to play, if they want to use their music to play in bands or whatever, they need to be able to play along with something.
Yeah, and it's just skills that you don't do just in a one-on-one lesson, without the backing tracks, because, it's the counting in, it's the listening for the other instruments. It's all that scaffolding that, doesn't necessarily happen when it's just, you and the piano.
Yeah. So how did it work out?
Oh, amazing, really amazing. So for the bulk of my kids, it's been a real success. One of my girls, she's in high school, and she said to me, using Practice Buddy just makes it stick, so really great now that the studio is up and running and I've got all these options for pieces. I've been so excited this week going and looking at all the different pieces, going, oh, I'm going to do that with that student. I'm going to do that with that student. So it's really exciting. And another boy that I use the Practice Buddy with, he said to me it helps him understand the music better. So, I've seen real progress with Buddy.
That's fantastic. Terrific. I'd like to also welcome Janet Olson, who's with us also from Utah. Hi, Janet. Also a member of this. Oh, and Josie Thomas from Sunshine. Both are members of the studio. So lovely to have you. And it's Sunshine in Melbourne, which is part of Australia, one of our big cities. And we've had Josie on the show before, which has been terrific as well. So Heather, you had one of your students, Brooklyn, learning scales with Practice Buddy. Is there a backstory to this?
There is. So Brooklyn just completed her RCM level 2 examination, where the scales are all done hands separately. And now she's preparing for her level 3 exam, where the scales are now hands together, 2 octaves, and the keys are a little bit more challenging. So she was really having a challenge putting her hands together with the correct fingering, with good tone, and at a steady tempo. So I told her and her mother that I knew of a fabulous program that they should try. And so they purchased the Practice Buddy, and I had Brooklyn working on one of her harder keys. And I told her, Brooklyn, if you can get this, I'm going to record you and send this into this wonderful Australian TV show. And so in 1 week, I believe we're going to see this video of Brooklyn playing her scales.
Good. Let's see that now.
Brooklyn, I know that you've been practicing your B minor harmonic scale. Would you like to try it with a backing track? Okay, let me start this for you. Yay, that was great, Brooklyn. Thank you.
That's not an easy scale, that B minor one, is it?
No.
And I thought it was so good how at the beginning she kind of she didn't quite come in exactly the right spot, but she got herself on track.
Yes, she did. Yes. I love the backing tracks. We're going to do this with every single key.
Fantastic. As Stella said, brilliant. So yes, it is good. And so we also have Leanna Minnick, and Leanna joined us also from Utah, and she rescued a student during the challenge. She was on the brink of sacking this student, and here's Leanna to tell you a little bit about what happened.
I have a student that I was going to fire a couple of months ago because he just wasn't motivated, and yet he was a fabulous performer, and he'd get pieces learned, and he'd perform them and have a beautiful smile on his face and do excellent jobs, but he just had lost some interest. And I tried everything, believe me. I had a discussion with Heather, so I'm going to fire the student. I chose him to use, and he said this to his mom. He says, I just loved being Miss Leanna's guinea pig. And I thought that was so precious. But I started the program with him, and we did the head, shoulders, hips, and he's loving it. And he said, oh, I did this at a program before my mom would let me take piano lessons. And I could tell, oh, I got to keep his interest. So I literally went as fast as I could through those 16 steps. And we got to the scales, and he enjoyed the tracking, the music backgrounds. Yes, he loved that so much. He would say, can we do it again? Can we do it again? And I was doing it. And then the caterpillar crawl, I did that with him, and and the chords, I couldn't keep going fast enough. And I did tell him, now, at the end of your lesson time, we'll be done. And I went over 5 minutes because he was eating it up. And I am thrilled to have this another resource and ability and challenge to motivate those students that need that extra fun, and those that are enjoying it, just to give them some enlightenment. And he told me at the end, he says, I want to learn that Mozart for my next recital. And I said, oh, you'll have that done way before the next recital. So it was very rewarding. Thank you.
It was such a lovely story. I thought it'd be nice to share it with you all. And we also thought it might be nice to see more students who are not Paul students doing these activities, to show that it's not just Uncle Paul or Mr. Paul who can do this. It's everybody can do this. So Heather, you taught the Mozart that Leanna's student is determined to learn for his next recital. And this piece is a late elementary, early intermediate, or grade 1, grade 2 standard. So as a teacher, how did these activities affect the overall process?
I think they've really been a game changer in my studio, because I've always been such a traditional teach on the bench type of a teacher, where we just work on what's in front of the page. But learning how to do these whole body learning activities has really helped to get the students so much more engaged, and they're having so much more fun.
Oh, that's terrific. Well, we've got a clip of sisters who 7-year-old Austin and 9-year-old Emmy doing one of the Mozart prep activities. This is a clapping activity to get them used to, or coordination activity really, to get them used to the 3/4, the lilt, and this kind of unusual rhythm of this piece. So let's look at that now. I just love the way they were so engaged and concentrating, and the memory, really. Look at how much they memorized.
Yes, they did.
Overall, how did they find doing the movement activity?
I think the video says it all. Just like you were saying, they were so engaged, and I think you could see it on their faces. They were just enjoying the whole process. What was so great about this too is these two little girls have always been a little bit more challenged as far as rhythm goes. But once we did this, and I had them again get off of the bench and do this, the activity, they were able to pick it up so much faster.
Oh, that's terrific. And we have another one of your lovely students who learnt the Mozart prep piece. So tell us about Willow.
Yeah, so Willow is one of my younger students. She's 7 years old, and she has been taking piano lessons for the past 18 months. She started out as a beginning group piano student, and she just finished her preparatory B examination, which is like the preliminary level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's always really liked the challenge, and so I thought, I know that the Mozart is a little bit higher of a level than what she's currently learning, but I wanted to give her that challenge, and I think she did a good job with it.
She did, and she learned it even hands together, which is not easy. I think she only did that in about 10 days or something, didn't she?
Yeah, I told her the first week she got it, I said, Willow, the first week I'd like you to do hands separately, just the right hand, and then the next week I'll teach you the left hand. Well, she loved it so much that she came back the next week having learned both parts, hands together.
Whoa, wow. Well, let's see Willow doing the finger prep for this Mozart piece based on, it's a changing fingers on repeated notes point.
Willow, I understand you have been practicing the 1-3-2-1 exercise a lot. Would you like to play that with the backing track?
Yes.
Great, let's go ahead and try that. Ready, go. And again. That was really fun. Thank you. Okay, great.
Can I see too?
That was so good. That was so good.
I wanna see.
You know what?
It's another gift of COVID, isn't it? How they really love seeing themselves on video. And we're set up for it now. We've got our studio set up with cameras and what have you. And it's so good to review the pieces with them, sort of almost in a coaching style. Yeah. Paul's course on teaching this Mozart minuet is still available, And he went through the whole body learning approach to this process in episode 28. So we'll put a link to that episode in the show notes if you'd like to give it a go in your studio. Well, on our trip around the world, looking at everybody doing whole body learning, let's move on to Singapore, Hong Kong and Malaysia, where Paula's been running some courses on using whole body learning to teach ABRSM exam pieces from grades 1 to 5. And I'd like to introduce you to Kitty Pang, who's from Hong Kong, and she is with her student Cheryl, who's learning a grade 3 piece from the musical Anastasia. Here's a quick look at the music before the video starts. There we go. And let's have a look at Kitty working with her student.
Okay, hả? Okay, go with me, say ready. 2, 3, ready, say play. Dun, dun, da, 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 da. Dun, very good. Dun, dun. Good. Yay!
Yay, finish!
One already. Go. Do, 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 do. 走位。坐返低好啲。靚啲嘅。企好啲手指喎。係啦，手指企好。Go, go, go. Dun, 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 dun. Very good.
I just love the fun that they were having there. Wasn't that good? And I can't help but wonder, you know, that child was really moving so much with that piece and the music that will, when she comes to play it, that freedom, I'm hoping will be in her performance as well. And I just love the way that Kitty asked her student to play the phrase all over the piano, like all moving all the way up. It's such a great teaching activity and to achieve repetition, and they think it's really fun because they're getting to play at all these different places. And even when there was this mistake, they just kept on going. She just ignored it and they kept going, which is so good for sight reading, isn't it? Well, Kitty also had a grade 1 student who did a prep activity around Sörcpia, which is grasshopper in Hungarian. And again, here's a quick look at the music, and just to show you what it's like. And let's look at what Kitty did with it.
Okay.
And he has so much fun too. It's so nice to see that. Kitty's from Hong Kong, so it's so nice to see students all around the world having fun learning piano. And I'd like to hear from everyone in the chat. What would be, this is actually one of the whole body learning activities for this piece that Paul teaches in the course. I'd like to hear from you, what would be a benefit of doing an activity, taking the time out before getting onto the keyboard, of doing an activity like this? What would be the benefit of that? So I'll let you put your answers in the chat. And if you'd like to hear more about making specific exam pieces fun, Paul will be running more courses later in the year for Trinity College, AMEB, ANSCA, Rock School. I know Rock School's very popular. And when RCM brings their new syllabus out, we'll be there. And Paul will have a course for you as well. Leanna says, lets the blood flow and the brain is more engaged. Absolutely. It sure does. Any other ones? So we'll let you know when registration happens for those courses when they are later in the year. So now to Australia. And Sophie, you've been most creative in making up your own whole body learning activities for some pieces. And you've been working with a piece called Rainy Saturday by American composer Emmylou Dimer, who is now 93. She's still living with us, which is fantastic. Firstly, what inspired you to create some of your own whole body learning activities for this piece?
Yeah, so it was the studio challenge and watching the Mozart and everything, and I was determined. I was like, I can do this. I can make up my own. I can do this with my students. So I was thinking about some music, and I really quite gravitated towards Rainy Saturday, and I thought, yes, I can make this work and put some whole body learning into it. Yeah. And aside from, you're saying before about engaging the brain, one of the things I've noticed doing the activities with my students is it sort of highlights their weaknesses, even just to tap a beat. Had a little girl this week who kept getting faster, and just really, helping her going, no, we're not going to race to the end. We're going to be nice and steady and keep that beat. So it's just interesting how using some off the bench activities highlights maybe what I wouldn't have picked up if we just sat and played it. Yeah.
And also I think it maybe heads off at the pass any potential problems down the track, so it gets the right things in place. And Stella Carrington said, I'm currently teaching a 5-year-old who rarely speaks and never sings, but has absolutely loved Caterpillar Crawl. That's fantastic. All online as well, which takes it up to the next step. But as you all can see, that everyone who was in the challenge saw we can do this easily online as we can do it in person, and we can even do it in small groups as well. So what did you do first with a Rainy Saturday?
Okay, so I didn't even tell my students the name of the piece. We started with talking about ostinato, and of course we use our best Italian accents and say ostinato in whatever ways we can say it. Let's just get the concept of ostinato down. So we talked about melodic ostinatos and rhythmic ostinatos, and then I done playlists up on Apple Music and Spotify, and then I would just, I'd ask the parents what they had, and I said, okay, well, here's the playlist. On your way to and from school in the car, I want you to listen to it this week. And I said, I want you to listen for the ostinatos, and I want you to tell me the effect that it has on the music. So I had things like Mars by Holst, Ravel's Bolero, the Peter Gunn theme, Carol of the Bells from Home Alone. So I had a few different genres and things in there. And, one of my students said, that Bolero was very boring. I said, you listened to the whole 15 minutes? And she said, yes.
He needed to see Torval and Dean skate it.
Yeah.
Or am I showing my age? That ice skating, I just come straight back into that. That's what I remember of that piece.
So,
What are the other comments you had from them about that?
So not Bolero, but one of the students loves Carol of the Bells, of course, Home Alone, and they said it made it more exciting. We talked about how sometimes they use the ostinato to build tension in the song. So, we had a really lovely discussion in that second week about what the effect of ostinato was on the music. So then I talked to them about rainy days. I said, you know, what do we think about rainy days? And, you know, they're long days because we're stuck inside and the time goes slow. So I said, we're going to start working on a piece called Rainy Saturday. And in that second week, I just taught them the ostinato. So we just did that by rote. So it was lovely legato playing. And for the whole next week, they just had to do this Rainy Saturday and imagine being stuck inside their house, bored, and the time going really slowly, which is what they did.
Yes, exactly. And that's half the piece learnt, really.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yes, it is.
And then you made up some fantastic words.
Yeah, so I don't think they're fantastic. I think they're very boring words.
I think they're really, really appropriate because you've got the sentiment right for what it feels like on a rainy Saturday. And then you also were really clever in that when there was repeated melodic fragments, which there are in this piece, you repeated the same words. So they're getting form and structure without even realizing it.
Yes.
So let's have a look at that video now. We've got a little clip of this.
Rainy Saturday by Emma Deemer, and this is tapping practice with speaking the lyrics. All right, hands ready. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, rest. It's a rainy Saturday, rest. All I want to do is go and play. Until then, I guess I am stuck in my room. It's a rainy Saturday. All I want to do is go and play. Until then, I guess I am stuck in my room. Stuck in my room. Stuck in my room. It's a rainy Saturday. All I want to do is go and play. Until then, I guess I am stuck in my room. Stuck in my room. Stuck in my room.
I think you can see what I mean. Let's put the music up so you can talk us through the various parts of that piece and what you did.
Yeah, so as we can see, the whole left hand is this 2-bar ostinato. So that's what we did. We did the 2-bar ostinato. Again, that was done by rote. That was without seeing the music. And we worked on that for that was during the second week. And then the third week was when we yep, that's it. That's our ostinato. And the third week is when we added in the tapping practice, because the ostinato is on the beat. It's keeping that lovely 3/4 time for us. So that's why we're tapping the beat. And I find some of the children get a bit overwhelmed with singing. They just don't want to sing. So I thought at least if we speak the lyrics, that's not too confronting for them. And yeah, so that's how I did it.
Fantastic. That's terrific. And Heather, do you have anything to add? Me sitting here looking at this.
Yeah, I think this has been just a fabulous program. I'm so excited to see all of the things that you put in the studio because I'm totally going to learn to reinvent the way that I teach my students with the whole body learning and the practice backing track. So thank you.
Oh, it's our pleasure. We've been having such fun with it. And it's so nice to see teachers embracing these ideas and using with the students and having such quick success. You know, that's been terrific. We're just really thrilled. So that's great. Well, that's all we have time for today. We'd like to thank Heather Smith and Sophie Fredericks for being with us. And we're going to be back in 2 weeks' time with another great episode of Q&A. If you're watching us on YouTube, click the like button and subscribe. As you know, YouTube creates content, and if you want to make sure you see the latest episodes of Q&A, click the subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook or on our website, remember to join the watch list and receive the episodes straight to your inbox. In the meantime, send us your questions for future Q&As, and there's 3 ways you can do that. You can either send us an email, click the Ask a Question button in Piano Teaching Success, or message us on Facebook. And I'd like to thank Paul Myatt, who has been producing today's show and is responsible for all the videos and behind the scenes tech. I think that last video, Rainy Saturday, was rather nice with all those pictures in it. It was very effective. Thank you, Paul. Well, on behalf of all of us, stay well, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.